A long time ago, there was a renowned and respected teacher who had a class full of inquisitive students. One day while teaching them, he noticed that his students were not paying attention. They were whispering amongst themselves and passing notes. So he decided to do something crazy. He stopped the lesson abruptly, walked around his classroom, turned off the lights and sat down. For a few seconds, nothing happened. The only sound in the room was the ticking of the clock on the wall. Then one student started to giggle. Soon the whole class was roaring with laughter. After a minute or two, the teacher stood up, turned on the lights and asked, "What did I do?" Confused, the students replied, "Nothing, sir." He then asked them, "Do you know how much power silence has? I was trying to teach you a lesson by being silent, but it seems you all found it very hard to handle a few moments of quiet. And because of that, I failed." Disappointed, the students hung their heads in shame. "I want each one of you to spend 1 hour alone in silence in your own home tonight. No talking, no TV, just sit quietly for 1 hour and reflect on what you've done today. Come back tomorrow and we'll talk about it." After everyone left, the teacher sat down to plan his next lesson. When they returned the next day, he asked them, "What did you do last night?" One by one, they shared their experiences. "It was the hardest thing I've ever tried to do, sir," one student said. "I couldn't stop thinking about how much I wanted to talk, but I sat in silence for an hour. It was really tough." Another student added, "Me too. I thought I'd go crazy. There were so many things going through my mind. I felt like I was going to explode." The teacher nodded understandingly. Yes, it is not easy to remain silent, especially when you are used to talking all the time. But the truth is, silence has a lot of power over us. It can make us feel uncomfortable, bored, restless, and even angry. But silence can also be a source of great strength, clarity, and peace. It can help us to focus our minds, to be more aware of ourselves and our surroundings, and to connect with others in a deeper way. He paused for a moment. When we learn to appreciate the power of silence, we open ourselves up to a whole new world of possibilities. We become more patient, more compassionate, and more understanding towards ourselves and others. And we discover that true happiness and fulfillment come from within us, not from the noise and distractions of the outside world. As the teacher continued to speak, the students listened intently, realizing the profound wisdom in his words. They had never thought of silence as having such power over them, but now they could see that it was an important part of life that they had been neglecting. The teacher went on to share with them some practical ways that they could incorporate more silence into their lives. He suggested that they start by setting aside a few minutes each day to sit in silence and reflection, and that they try to be more mindful of the power of silence in their everyday interactions with others. He also encouraged them to be patient with themselves as they learn to embrace silence, and to be kind and compassionate towards themselves and others when they inevitably made mistakes. Along the way, as the lesson came to an end, the students thanked the teacher for opening their eyes to the importance of silence. They realized that they had much to learn, but they were excited to begin their journey towards embracing the power of silence in their lives. From that day on, the students made an effort to be more aware of the power of silence. They started to notice that when they were silent, they were able to focus better on their studies, to be more present in their relationships, and to connect more deeply with themselves and the world around them. They also learned to appreciate the silence of nature, such as the quiet of a forest or the stillness of a mountaintop, and to find peace and tranquility in these moments of solitude. One day, the teacher was sitting in his desk when he heard a knock on the door. He looked up to see one of his former students standing in the doorway. The student had graduated from his class years ago and had gone on to study at a prestigious university. "Sir, I wanted to thank you for teaching me the importance of silence," the student began. "I've carried this lesson with me throughout my life, and it has helped me in so many ways." The teacher smiled, knowing that his teachings had made a positive impact on his student's life. He asked the student to sit down, and they began to talk about the power of silence. The student explained how he had used silence to help him focus on his studies, to be more present in his relationships, and to connect with himself on a deeper level. "I've also learned to appreciate the silence of nature," the student added, "and to find peace and tranquility in moments of solitude." The teacher nodded, knowing that his student had truly embraced the lesson he had taught him years ago. As the conversation continued, the student told the teacher about some of the challenges he had faced in his life, and how he had used silence to overcome them. "There have been times when I felt overwhelmed by the noise and chaos of the world," the student admitted, "but I've learned to step away from the distractions and to find moments of silence, where I can center myself and find inner peace." The teacher listened attentively, feeling proud of the young man his student had become. He knew that the power of silence had helped him to become more focused, more compassionate, and more wise. When the student finished speaking, the teacher shared some of his own experiences with silence. He talked about how he had learned to use silence to help him connect with others on a deeper level, to be more patient, and to cultivate inner peace. Silence can be a powerful tool for personal growth and self-discovery, the teacher said. But it takes practice and dedication to cultivate a habit of silence in our lives. As the conversation came to an end, the teacher and his former student discussed the importance of continuing to embrace the power of silence in their lives. They agreed that it was a lifelong journey that required patience, persistence, and an unwavering commitment to one's own inner peace and well-being. And here's the thing, friends. The teacher in the story didn't need to say anything. His actions spoke volumes. You don't always need words to make an impact. Sometimes the most powerful lessons are the ones that are taught by example, by simply being present and letting your actions speak for themselves. This can be a powerful way to inspire and motivate others, showing them that it is possible to live a life of purpose and meaning even in the midst of adversity. By being a role model, you can demonstrate that it's possible to overcome challenges and achieve one's goals, which can be incredibly inspiring to those around you. So remember, friends, sometimes the most impactful lessons are the ones that are taught without words. Let your actions speak for themselves and be a role model for those around you. So, what's the moral of the story? The importance of silence. Silence is powerful. It can be a source of strength, clarity, and peace if we learn to embrace it. However, it can also be challenging, especially in a world that often values busyness and productivity over stillness and introspection. The key, as the wise teacher in the story understood, is to find a balance between the two. Embracing silence doesn't mean disconnecting from the world or avoiding our responsibilities. Rather, it means making a conscious effort to create space for stillness in our lives so that we can connect with ourselves and our surroundings more deeply. It is about learning to listen to the quiet voice within us that often gets drowned out by the noise of everyday life. In doing so, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities, allowing us to tap into our inner wisdom and creativity, strengthen our relationships with others, and cultivate a sense of inner peace and well-being. And guess what? You, my friend, have the power to embrace silence in your own life. It starts with a simple decision, a conscious choice to make space for stillness in the midst of the chaos. It's about setting aside a few moments each day to sit in silence, to reflect on your thoughts and feelings, and to connect with your inner self. It's also about being mindful of the power of silence in your everyday interactions with others, listening more deeply and speaking less. By embracing silence, you can unlock a world of possibilities, allowing yourself to tap into your inner wisdom and creativity. Strengthen your relationships with others and cultivate a sense of inner peace and well-being. But it doesn't end there. You also have the power to share the importance of silence with others, to be a light in the darkness and show others that it is possible to embrace silence. Even in the midst of a noisy world, you can be a role model, demonstrating the benefits of silence and inspiring others to follow suit. Remember, you don't always need words to make an impact. Sometimes the most powerful lessons are the ones that are taught by example, by simply being present and letting your actions speak for themselves. So my friend, embrace the power of silence in your own life and share that power with the world. Let your inner light shine and inspire others to do the same. Thank you for watching.